Miltimber is an affluent suburb in the city of Aberdeen in the northeast of Scotland. This is Miltimber Primary School, and the children who attend school here receive an excellent education, this perhaps being something we can sometimes take rather for granted. Back in late 1999, as we approached the millennium, one of the main concerns in the UK seemed to be that we could run out of champagne and that this might dampen the festivities. At this point, some friends and neighbours in Miltimber got together to discuss whether we tended generally to take our lifestyles for granted. Things extending from the availability of champagne to our excellent education and leisure facilities. So we talked about whether we might help to change things for the better in some small way. And this was the birth of the Miltimber Make a Difference group, or the M.A.D group, as we have come to be known. We decided at the outset that our main focus would be on education. We have done some work locally, but our main efforts abroad have centred on the small African country of Burkina Faso. We selected Burkina Faso for three main reasons. It was one of the least literate countries in the world, with only about 1 in 3 of the population then being able to read. It was also one of the poorest countries in the world. Adults have an average income of less than $2 per day. And thirdly, it was politically stable, so we hoped that what we did would be both safe and enduring. Not knowing where to start, we contacted UNESCO, and we were very fortunate when they gave us the name of Anatole Niamiogo. He recommended in turn his colleague Mrs. Margaret Saka. As our partners in Burkina Faso, they have been absolutely pivotal during the 12 years that our charity has been running. We would not have got anywhere during that time without Anatole and Marguerite, and you can see them here.
The implementation with an existing framework, it's not enough. He has to go to farm, he has to do his husbandry, he has to...
More recently, Anatole and Marguerite and the M.A.D group have been assisted by the staff of APENF. APENF are an organisation who operate across several African countries, essentially to promote adult education. And this clip shows a meeting between APENF and the visiting trustees and members from the M.A.D group during 2010. We have focused our efforts on 2 villages within Burkina Faso. The first of these was Zugo, where we funded the construction of an adult education centre in 2003. And this is the library within that building.
Now in the library at Zugo, this is the first time we have seen it. We are pleased to see there are a number of books here, different subjects.
Our visit to the Zugo library indicated that there was a need to expand the number and the type of books available there. We also learned the need for more training for a local librarian. The other village we have sponsored is Dundudugu, and this is M.A.D Tam's Hut, an adult education centre built in memory of Thomas Wildash. The library in Dundudugu is flourishing, and here we are presenting some new books. The men in Burkina Faso are more likely to be literate than the women, and it is said that if you educate a woman, then you are potentially educating a family. In view of this, we have particularly encouraged girls and women in our sponsored education programs to date. Throughout the year, it gets dark early in Burkina Faso, and there are no electric lights in the villages. It is therefore difficult for the children and for the adults whom we sponsor to work in the evenings after school or after their own work. In 2012, we shall begin to finance electrification and lighting in our 2 villages. That young man herding the cattle is unfortunately rather typical of children in Burkina Faso. For reasons of financial necessity, like that young man, about half of the children there do not go to school at all. These youngsters work in the fields to help to supplement the food supplies or the income of their families. It is the lucky children who go to school.
10 to 12 and 12 to peut-être 15, 15 ans.
C'est CM1 et CM2.
No, he's the only one.
Voilà, c'est vous qui tenez.
How many children in here?
Il y a combien d'élèves?
Bon, là, nous avons 41 et puis là,
41,
38.
38. And he is the one.
The primary schools are crowded, as you can see, but the standards of education seem to be very good indeed, both here in Zougo and here in Dundudugu. Our local school in Miltimber has linked up with our primary schools in Burkina Faso on several occasions. The children and parents in Miltimber have very generously donated school and leisure equipment, and the Miltimber children have learned about their counterparts in a poor African country. While we started our efforts in Burkina Faso focusing almost solely on education, we have since then diversified a little into water, nutrition and health. We arrived at the conclusion that health and nutrition were vital as underpinnings of successful education. We have commissioned a survey of child feeding practices in Dundudugu, and we hope to link with the nurse there to explore relevant health-related projects. We have already agreed to fund the electrification of the health centre in Dundudugu. A fresh water supply is vital to the health of a village, and the women in Dundudugu previously walked miles to get their fresh water. After seeing this successful borehole in Zougo, we funded this one in Dundudugu.
Dates here. 29th of May 2010.
The official language of Burkina Faso is French, and this has proved to be a learning experience and a challenge, particularly when our members meet up with the villagers. This is Trustee Janet Hosey doing a very good job in Zougo.
C'est bien. On continue le soutien. Mais sinon.
Not all of the villagers speak French, and it is necessary to conduct some of the dialogue in their local language. We regard these meetings with the villagers as very important, and that we can explore together what has been done in their village and what they regard as still needing to be done. This young man in Zugo was very keen to let us know his hopes for our continuing activities in the village. And this is our meeting with the villagers in Dundudugu. That afternoon, we talked about our sponsorship of children from the village to attend secondary school. Until we started to do this, no child there had ever gone beyond the primary school stage. We have paid fees, we have financed prizes and equipment, and we have also bought bicycles for the children, since the secondary school is more than 5 kilometres away from the village. We have now funded a very similar scheme in Zugo. At the end of our trip, we met again with our colleagues at APENF. Between our visits, of course, we remain in regular contact with APENF through emails, but nothing compares with a visit to know exactly how things are going in our villages in Burkina Faso. Materially, the people in Burkina Faso do not have very much at all. Something as uncomplicated as a frisbee can be a wonderful thing to the children there. A little bit of help goes a very long way in improving the quality of their lives. We do hope that the efforts of our charity can continue to make a difference to the people in Burkina Faso.